Hello and welcome to InDesign. In this video, I'm going to introduce some of the features of Adobe's InDesign software program in a way that helps you to design a poster. So just keep in mind that InDesign has a lot of other purposes like creating books, magazines, you can do brochures, and there's a whole lot of other print and digital publications you can create. To get things started, I'm going to go ahead and open a file that I've already created. If you are watching this video and don't have this particular file, it's okay. Just go ahead and open a new file and follow along as best you can. So I'm going to go up to File and hit Open. And I'm going to peruse my computer to find the file that I want to work with. And then I'm going to click Open. What you see here is a very simple poster design comprising of text, photos, and graphics. Now we want to update our ribbon to show the options bar. So please go up to Window at the very tippy top of your screen, click on it, and then click where it says Control. Then you should see the options bar pop up in your ribbon. The next feature that I want to highlight is located at the very bottom of the toolbar on the left side of your screen. If I hover my mouse over it, it says Normal. Normal View allows us to view the blue boxes that you see surrounding text as well as pictures and other graphics. When you click on one of the blue boxes, you should see that it kind of highlights with a set of grips. Those grips are used to maneuver the boxes to be as tall or as small as you like. So you can see how I can stretch it or make it rise. The general rule of thumb is to keep your blue box snug to the object that it surrounds. You'll also notice that the blue boxes make it kind of difficult to really see the poster. Plus, that photo is a tiny bit fuzzy and digitalized. So normal view means that we are sort of in an edit mode for our poster. We are free to manipulate the text, photos, and graphics. To see what this poster would look like without the blue boxes, and also to kind of see how the pictures won't look so fuzzy, click and hold your mouse down there at that normal button, and a little hidden panel pops up, and choose Presentation. You will then go into a preview mode that shows you what the poster is going to look like when it prints. To get to this, you can also hit Shift and W on your keyboard. To go back to the editing mode, hit Escape on your keyboard, and then you should see the blue boxes around objects again. So just remember, the blue boxes, they help us resize and move the objects around. Now let's talk a little bit about text and its importance on posters. So you should see that this poster has a title, a subtitle, a photo caption, and descriptive text. Now always add a title to your posters. It helps the viewers know what your poster is about in general. Titles are supposed to be informative and eye-catching. So if you want to know a little bit about the psychology behind titles, they actually tell the person who's viewing the poster what they're supposed to feel or know about the poster before they even look at it. So in interior design, you can tell your viewer how they should feel about the space: rustic and relaxed. Stay brief with your titles. Don't use people's names or the word poster. Like, don't use Cindy's bedroom retreat poster. No. Keep it more professional by simply listing what the topic of the poster is all about. You can be poetic, and those typically are a little bit more eye-catching than titles that are not poetic. Text in InDesign works very much the same way as it does in Illustrator or Photoshop, and even a little like Microsoft Word. So to delete a text box, make sure that you have the black arrow selected in your toolbar, and then simply click on the text that you want to highlight, and I'm going to hit Delete on the keyboard, and you'll see that the text goes away. To add text, use the text tool located in the toolbar, And you're going to find really fast that InDesign does not like for you to do text boxes on top of graphics like what we have in this poster. So I'm going to use the sliding bars to kind of move over a little bit, and I'm going to draw a text box over in the gray area. Once you have the text box, start typing. So we're just going to redo that title, and I'm just going to name it Rustic and Relaxed. To change the size of the text, just use your cursor to come in here and highlight the text, and then you should see up in the options bar there's a lot of different options to actually manipulate and maneuver the text. So we're going to create this as an Arial font or typeface. La 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 la. It's way up at the top. La 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 la. Holy cow. Alright, so here's Arial. And then I'm also going to choose it at 60 points. And that's how you can change the size. To move the text, I'm going to go ahead and click on that black arrow once again. And then I'm going to kind of snug the blue box around. And then I'm just going to grab it by one of the letters, and then I can move it in. What's important to do is to align your texts. See how I can kind of position this text box so it aligns with the text box underneath it? That's exactly what we want to do. Just remember that in order to manipulate the text tool has to be activated. You can't do it when you have the black arrow selected. So for the most professional looks to your posters, the more that you align, the more it shines. Placing objects randomly can make a poster look really messy and unorganized. So as interior designers, and as we are the organizers of the free world, please be sure to keep things like text, pictures, and graphics aligned as much as possible. Now in this poster, you can see that we have 3 different size text. The title is large, the subtitle is medium in size, and the photo caption and descriptive texts are a bit smaller. This establishes what's called a hierarchy. Hierarchy is a term used to describe importance or ranking. The title is large in size because we want it to capture the viewer's attention. It's really important to read the title of the poster first before viewing the poster itself. That way the viewer knows the context of the poster. The subtitle is a little bit smaller but still larger than most of the other text. And really the job of the subtitle is to give a little bit more information to support the title. It can include the who, what, where, when kind of information. The captions and the descriptive text are smaller because we don't want people to be drawn to those texts first. Those have a little bit more detail to them, and we want the detail to come later. So remember, size matters in terms of which text you see first. Now you can see that by ordering the text also from large to small as we look down the poster, it creates a certain flow that's easy for our eyes to follow. So this also is a trick of psychology. You want to help guide the eye of your viewer from the beginning of your poster to the end. You don't want their eyes to shift all over the poster because there's no order behind that. You want them to take information in one section at a time. So by using 2 to 3 different size fonts and ordering them from large size to small size helps the viewer view the poster accurately and efficiently. In terms of flow, you also want to follow the same reading direction that your viewers use. So here in the good old US of A, we read from left to right, and we also read from top to bottom. So try to order your posters' content in the same direction. If you had a client who lived in a culture that reads in a different way, you should try to organize your poster in the same way that they read. On posters made for American clients, you want to have the general information first at the top and left sides of the poster, and then you kind of flow through the poster so that you end on some specific details. So that would be like your descriptive text or descriptive pictures, and those should be located on the right or bottom of the poster. So always keep your titles on top along with your logo, And when we get to talking about the picture section of this video, we're going to talk a little bit more about the order that pictures should show on your posters. So we talked about the importance of having 2 to 3 different size text on your poster. It's also important to have 2 to 3 different font types on your poster. So the title and descriptive text should be extremely easy to see, to read it, and to understand it. Don't ever use cursive on your poster. So when we look at this text right here, can you see how much more difficult it is to read that than it is to read the one up above? Simple fonts may seem boring, but making sure that your poster is readable should be your #1 priority. So let's change this font to Arial 24 point. So I'm going to come over here to the text tool. I'm going to highlight that text, and then I want to come up here and choose Arial. Let's see if we can find it again. There it is, and it should be at 24 point. Currently, it also looks like it's on italic because it's got a little bit of a slant to it. So let's come up to the ribbon and change that from italic to regular. Beautiful. And then I'm just going to select the black arrow and then click off to deselect that text box. Just remember to always highlight the text. Don't just click on the text box and try to change the text, because you're going to find real quick that that does not work. Now let's speak real briefly on consistency. On this particular poster, the title is an Arial font, or it's also called a typeface. That's what graphic designers call it. And the descriptive paragraphs are also on the same typeface as well. So if one paragraph is in one font and another is in a different font, we're not staying too consistent. So consistency means that things look the same. Psychologically speaking, this helps the brain of the viewer feel good while looking at your poster. If you have like 9 different fonts all over the place, your poster feels very chaotic. So if you have 5 descriptive paragraphs on your poster, keep all 5 of those on the same font and the same size text, because it can look messy when they're all different sizes as well. So keep consistency. If your titles are a certain font and a certain size, then all titles should be a certain font and a certain size. If your descriptive text is a certain font and size, all of them should be a certain font and size. So we said that this was going to be Arial 24, so just to make sure that we did that. Beautiful. Let's look at this one as well. Let's highlight it. Oh, that one says that it's got all different kinds of sizes in there, so let's just make sure that that gets changed to 24 as well. And the reason why it looks a little different is because it's on narrow. So I'm going to go ahead and click regular on that as well. Now they look consistent, and now it looks a lot easier to look at, more pleasing to look at as a viewer of the poster. Now the subtitle has a different font style because one font used throughout the entire poster is really boring to look at. So we use 2 or 3 fonts to kind of keep the poster looking interesting. Now subtitles can have a little bit more of a casual look, meaning they can be a little bit more loose than the titles. But if you want your poster to be taken seriously, keep the main title in a very serious, clear, and highly readable font. Now you'll notice that the photo has a small caption underneath it, and it is super important to caption each and every one of your pictures. So again, you're telling your client what the photo is all about. Without a caption, the viewer's kind of left to guess what the purpose of the photo is, so don't let them guess. Tell them what it is. Don't use words like perspective or elevation. Your clients don't know what those words are, and there's no need to dirty up your poster with lots of words. They don't care what kind of perspective that you have, they just care what the room is. So just keep the photo caption simple and just tell them what they're looking at. So let's change this photo caption and just keep it at bedroom. Let's get rid of 2-point perspective. And then of course, you always want to make your blue boxes snug to there. This one's a little hard because this big white square doesn't allow us, oh yeah it does, sometimes that doesn't allow us to to change it. So if that ever happens, just drag this down a little bit and then you can see the middle grip, and then you can drag it over and then you can keep it snug that way. Looking good so far. Just some last minute points about text on a poster. Avoid big paragraphs. 1 or 2 sentences is fine, but if you find yourself writing a really large paragraph, switch to using bulleted points. Nobody likes reading paragraphs on posters. And a viewer is much more likely to read short and sweet bulleted points compared to the big stuff. So bulleted points are really great for describing the key features of your design. Don't speak in first person. That means don't use the words my or I. Don't use your client's name either. Just state facts about your design and speak more in a third person kind of way. Always do grammar and spell checks. Now you can't really do that too well here in InDesign, so I always suggest that you write any kind of written aspects of your poster in Microsoft Word. Do a spell check there in Microsoft Word and then copy the corrected text over into the text box in InDesign. Avoid hyphens in text whenever possible. It's not very professional looking. So let's do this. Let's grab this text box right here, and I'm going to go up to type and I'm going to choose paragraph. Currently it is set to hyphenate. So if I were, let me grab this here and I'm going to kind of pull it in. Do you see how it is hyphenating subdued? That's very unprofessional looking. So if I click on hyphenate and uncheck that, then it won't hyphenate anything. But I am going to pull this back just to kind of keep everything aligned. So again, on alignment, can you see how this text box is aligned with this text box? This is aligned here. These pictures are aligned here. Alignment is so super important to have a professional looking poster. When you're done unhyphenating a text box, just go ahead and click the X and then you are good to go. So those are the basics of working with text on posters in InDesign. You even got a little information on poster text do's and don'ts. Next, we're going to talk about pictures and graphics.